Good evening, witches, warlocks, sorcerers, adepts, friends, fans, family, and followers to Season 1, Episode 11 of Cuniculum Obscuritatis, the Obscure Tunnels or Tunnels of Obscurity, brought to you by Celestial Oddities Radio and the Coterie of Samil, Arcane Occult Order. As always, I will be your host, Frater Crow.
And I will be your co-host, Natasha Michelle. Please make sure you check us out on all the different platforms, YouTube, Facebook Live, and all of the other streaming apps so that you can tune into the show, leave comments, and interact with the conversation that we're having, as well as check out episodes that you may have already missed.
And if you do leave comments, we will throw them up on the screen. We will interact with you. We will read them off. We suggest that. We love to see what you guys have to say. We love interacting with you, so please feel free to do so. If for some reason we are not seeing your comments, we apologize. We have had issues in the past where for some reason connectivity wasn't working correctly, but I do believe we fixed that as of last episode, which is nice because for half this goddamn season, we weren't able to get it to work. So if you are new to the show, welcome. We have a lot of different topics that we've covered over the last 10 episodes leading up to this one, from foundations and holistic principles to daily practice to dealing with sorrow and loss in your family or friend circle to just so many other things that we've covered. And we found that you guys are loving the show and loving our idea that we came up with for this show. This is not only for diabolists and devil worshippers. This is for anyone in the occult that would like to learn principles of foundation, whether you are a novice and beginner or you are someone who is more experienced. This is a great show to learn different aspects and different, as I always have used, place of pivot, different perspectives. And we give that. And we have 3 episodes left if you count tonight. We will end the season, and in several months, we will be back with Season 2. Now, Season 1 was centered around the structure and the principles, the building up of the machine. Season 2, we will be talking about directly spiritual communication and going a lot deeper into those subjects that I know a lot of you are anxious for. But it's also like when you first start magic and you want to conjure a demon day 1, and you really shouldn't and have to wait for it, as we talked about. You got to wait for the fucking fruit in Season 2. But Season 1 is so crucially important to have the topics in Season 2.
Yeah, and I think having that break is going to give anybody that may have missed it time to go back, hit all of the episodes, make sure that you do have that good foundation so that when we come back with Season 2, you're ready to go with us.
100%. We have MDKH saying, I am here. I found it. Evening, you two. Good evening. We have Stacy Tyndall giving some devil horns. Absolutely. We have Dark Rhino saying, good evening. Good evening to you all, and thank you for tuning in. We're going to, get the introduction started here as we always do. We're going to talk for a few minutes, and then we are going to jump into some very important conversation tonight, guys. I know we say that a lot because it always is important, but tonight is one where we're stepping aside from the normal aspects of ritual and aspects of building your practice to more of a safety concern and a subject matter that needs to be discussed, which often isn't. And there are many reasons that it's often not talked about. It's just not thought about in some cases, but more often than not, it's swept under the rug or hidden from or ran away from. Because let's face it, no one likes to ruffle feathers. There's people who say, oh, I do, but then they really don't. And they keep silent. And that's a problem because we know in this world, too many people keeping silent on crucial, important matters is how things continue to perpetuate and grow. And we're going to talk about that tonight. So Laura jumped in and said, hey, you both. Hey, Laura, nice to have you tuning in here. We have Tara saying, hey, guys, Hyung and Freud tonight. I dig it. All right, so let me do the evening prayers, and then we will go ahead and get things started on what will be a hell of an episode. In the name of Samael, Cain, and Lilith, we call out to you, O Lord, Nakash El Ark, our Savior and Father. Let us continue to be unbendable, unbreakable pillars of the eternal infernal black flame, soldiers and emissaries of the black light of divinity. You who is the true God existing in the void place of chaos before the creation of the cosmos, which gave form to force, bringing only suffering and death. blanketed with the illusion of what the Claiborne call living, encased in fragile flesh, falling victims to their own debased hungers. The cattle stand in their own prisons, singing songs of freedom. The blind bastard sons and daughters bow to their blind bastard God. Let us never be mistaken for their ilk. Let us serve you diligently and with honor, and let our knees not falter, and allow our minds to remain sharp and clear for the battles and wars that we shall wage in your name, tonight being one of them. Life after life, we march to your drum until we have won and all is returned back to silence. We are the beacons of hope and the lighthouses of knowledge. No matter the darkness, our wisdom will shine, for we are the messengers and we are the crows. Our calls will be heard to the ending of time. We are the sons and daughters of darkness. The Natasha is with us and we shall never fear.
And as always, I will follow that with the mission statement for the Coterie of Samil. Following is the mission statement for the Cult, meaning collective understanding of lost teachings. Number 1, to honor, praise, and uphold the work of our other god, the Natasha. Number 2, to honor, praise, and know the Cathotic Elohim, working alongside them to gain gnosis and shape the currents of our own lives. Number 3, the intense and continuous study and practice of Dabbleism, necromancy, and left-hand path mysticism. Number 4, work completed both in and out of the temple, individually and as a cult, towards a return to Ein and spiritual immortality in nothingness. Number 5, to reside in a physical manifestation that while it may be incarnated in a prison, it is a prison crafted to our standards and our desires. Number 6, to uphold the authority and integrity of one's own moral code while remaining a wolf in a world filled with sheep. Number 7, to openly shine and fan our own black flames, giving the opportunity and inspiration for those so inclined to recognize and feed their own. Number 8, to burn as torches in the darkness so that those worthy may be guided to them, finding their inner strength and embodying what it means to rise to their own power. And number 9, not to obtain or draw in followers, but to encourage mysticism, free thought, dedication, breaking of chains, and questioning everything, including us.
And that is a big part of tonight's episode, as you see, question everything. And it should not only be question everything, but question everyone. For those unwilling to be questioned have something to hide. And what is it that they're hiding? And that is very important. Now, I'd like to start tonight's episode out with some questions. And there's several people watching right now. We have 15 right now on one platform, and there's probably another 30 or 40 across a few other platforms. So feel free to jump in and leave comments. I wish you would, because this will help aid in the visual tonight of what it is we're talking about.
Absolutely.
I think that it is fair to say that most of us have found our way to the left-hand path, whatever path of the left-hand path that might be, whatever trail, because of many different things in our lives, whether we have suffered abuse, whether we have felt alone or depressed or suicidal, whether we have felt like we never fit in somewhere and we are looking for somewhere to feel like home and to call home. And it oftentimes, and not always, there's people who join, the left-hand path and they've had a great upbringing. That's wonderful. But I think it would be safe to say that a fair number of those walking the left-hand path have found it because something was missing in their life, or something was destroyed or wrecked, or trauma within their life had them searching for something more. If you feel that is the case for you and you are watching right now, do not be ashamed and do not hide it. I am a damaged bag myself, and I have come to heal myself, but I have no problem telling you the things that have happened to me. I've stated them on this show before, and it is another thing that hits close to home. I had things happen to me as a child that had nothing to do with occultism, but nonetheless, as I mentioned, once upon a time, I was molested by an adult babysitter when I was only 5 or 6 years old. And a lot of people would hide from that and be ashamed of that. I have no shame of that. Things happen to us in life. It's about how we get past it and heal. Now, if you have felt that way, if you have felt like you didn't belong, if you have felt like you were searching for something more, if you felt alone, if you felt like no one
Abandoned.
understands you, if you felt abandoned, if you felt trauma, if you felt like you wanted to end life and you were needing something and you're on the left-hand path, please just drop a comment. All you have to say is hand up or me or yes. And I'll ask a couple questions, and then once that happens, I will explain what tonight's episode is about, and I think it will be very potent. And while we're waiting on that, I'm going to take a drink of beer. Natasha, how was your week?
You know what? My week was all right. I, as you know, the shop, closed up and everything. So I am back to working for the man.
The man.
As well as still doing the shop stuff. But yeah, it went all right. I'm a little tired, but hanging in there.
It's a big switch to go from working for yourself to working for the man again.
It is, but they seem pretty cool, so I think I'll be all right. How was your week?
It was interesting. So my house flooded.
Oh,
and
yes.
we got hit with a massive storm, flash flood, temple, and everything was underwater. Should be heartbreaking, but what you need to understand, guys, is that when something like that happens, you can be pissed off and cry about it, or you can just take it on the chin, because no matter what you do, it isn't going to change the fact that there's water in your house, water in your temple and basement. So I just shook my head and fucking got to work, buckled in. And my neighbor even said, he's like, man, the amount of calm that you have going on right now is truly amazing. It's kind of scaring me. And I told him, you know what, brother? They're just things. They're just things. So my week was a little crazy. Right after that, we left for vacation, had a beautiful time, came back, finished the temple back up. I am proud to say that it is back to its full capacity and power, and just getting back into the grind of the work week and, the fun of life. So thank you for asking.
I love to hear it. I'm glad you got some ocean therapy.
So absolutely, me too. So we got quite a few hands coming in here. We'll just throw, and not to put you guys on the spot, but I don't think anybody should be ashamed of that. We have Chelsea putting a hand up here. We have Tara saying me too. We have Dark Rhino putting hand, pink waving. Not sure what the hell that means. I think it's supposed to be an emoji, but it's coming across as that. A pink hand waving. We have MDKH, me, and yes, and we have Nailboy 08 waving as well. So that's enough for the point. We have a lot of people that feel abandoned, feel traumatized, feel like they're needing something. Now, one more question and we'll jump into it. How many people felt like when they came on this path? Because what often happens is you jump into the left-hand path and you're like, I'm going to find home. I'm going to feel like I belong. And then you come here and you realize, well, the Facebook communities and the pages and all of this on there is just that. They're just Facebook's social media pages.
Yeah.
You don't feel any more accepted than you did 2 months ago before you had those. In fact, sometimes they make you feel more alienated, because as I've talked about, and I'll bash anybody all fucking day long, 90% of these people you see talking big claims on Facebook and on these group pages don't perform magic and don't do the things they're doing. Saturday night, guys, Friday night, they're sitting in their lazy boy watching movies, eating chips and drinking beer. They're not fucking doing magic. But guess what? Monday morning, they're on the Facebook group pages and they're telling you about how they fucking called in all kinds of spirits over the weekend and had mind-bending experiences. And they called in Mephistopheles and all these other spirits. It's like, yeah, bro, no. So you end up finding this loneliness. You're like, I came here to find family, and I only found more emptiness, right? And then you start the search. How many of you, and then we're going to jump into it, how many of you then started wishing that you could become part of a coven, of a cult, of a lodge, of a house, whatever name you want to give it? How many of you then are like, I need to find a refined group that understands me, that has the same mission, and I really want to be a part of something strong.
With that human interaction.
With that human interaction. Because the Facebook groups aren't doing it. All people are doing is being mean, and they're fucking telling crazy stories that aren't true and arguing with one another. How many people have said, I need to find an actual fucking group? Let me know.
And I think that it's funny, with social media, I think that really you know, they've done studies on it. That's the whole point of it. Like they said, oh, we connected the whole world, and like everybody has community and has groups and stuff, and yet studies show people are more lonely, more depressed, less satisfied in general, and that just goes to show, you know, Facebook, fake book.
Well, and the problem is, and this is something else that should be addressed and could be its own episode, but we're not going to do that this season. I don't know if we'll ever cover it. We can just say it quickly here. There's this crazy thought pattern in occultism, especially the left-handed path, whatever trails, like I said, that might be, that your way is the only way and is the right way.
Yes.
So oftentimes you put up like, this is the magic I'm doing, and like 20 people will be like, that's not how it fucking works, and that's not real, and you can't do that, and you can't do this. And it's like, why is that? Why is it that your magic is the only magic that works, brother? Why is it? Because that's weird to me, because we come from a planet that there was thousands of different heritages and you know, practices out there over the years and over the millennia that people take influence from. So not only are there those practices, but there's the syncretism and the eclectic melding together of those things to create new practices of magic. But so often people want to be gatekeepers and say, if you don't do it the way I've done it, you're not doing it. And that's kind of fucked up. So that's why these groups make you feel that way.
And which completely defeats almost the entirety of the purpose of left-hand path in general, which is what I find so ironic about it.
It is very ironic. So we have people saying, me, I've done that. Yes, I've been looking for my tribe forever, still looking. So we see people like Sarah right there. That's an example. You know, I've done that. Yes, me. No Facebook, but the need for a physical meeting in Coven. Yes. Okay. Excuse me. So the reason of tonight's episode and what we're going to jump into is that's an okay thing. It's okay to want to find your group. It's okay to want to find your family, your clique, right? The problem with that is when you're already coming from a place of trauma, when you're already coming from a place of darkness, sadness, sorrow, pain, hunger for something more, and then you don't find what you're looking for on the internet, and you're looking for all these groups. Oh, I can't find it. And then I need to find a group. And sometimes it's harder to go to any group because they're maybe not close. So you're limited on who you can go with. But even if you can go further away, now you start hunting groups, and that's okay. The problem is these groups can have people in it that might have ulterior motives, because the occult is an ocean. And like any ocean, there are sharks within those waters. And when I say sharks, I don't mean people who are predatory practitioners in the sense that they are vampiric or they do clepothic magic or anything like that, because I fall into that category of predator. And that's not what we're talking about tonight when we're talking about predators, folks. We're talking about people who understand that they have people coming to them, seeking guidance, seeking spiritual evolution, seeking help. And they were able to use those things against them in the most malicious and degrading ways. Abuse, molestation, rape, pedophilia, robbery, abuse, and so many things that are taking place behind the scenes out of the mainstream public eye. And when I say this, guys, I'm not just talking little cliques and covens here and there that you've never heard of. I'm talking large-scale groups with large-scale named practitioners, some of which are professional practitioners who do this for a living. This is their sole job. They earn their money off of paid services. Some of these folks are professional authors who are very well known. Some of them are educational minds and lecturers who are known around the world for their work. That people don't know the horrific, horrible fucking things that they do behind the scenes. If you were involved enough in the occult and you know enough people, you start to discover things that aren't supposed to be found. It's like the P. Diddy thing going on, right? How often did these things happen? How much on a large scale was this taking place? How many people knew, but no one in the main eye really knew? You might have suspected. But now we start to hear the horror stories, and it's like, holy shit, this is going on rampantly in the satanic communities, in the ATR communities, in different pagan and witchcraft communities. This is running rampant, where you are finding out about covens and cults and houses that are tricking people, first robbing them, making them believe they have to do things at an urgent time. The spirit needs you to do something right now. And the thing is, guys, if you don't know this practitioner before you go into the home, you get into that hive mentality. You come in and everyone in that coven or cult or house worships and gives love to the high priest or priestess, right? So even if you don't really know them, you're like, well, man, everybody respects them, so I respect them too, right? So then when he starts telling you to do things, you're like, well, I got to do it because I'm part of his team now. And if I don't, they're going to kick me out. So there's that fear of, I finally found my family. Even if it doesn't feel right, guys, I finally found my family and I can't lose it. He's wanting me or she's wanting me to do things that seem kind of odd, but I don't want to lose my family. And everybody else is doing it too. So, I mean, everybody else is okay. I can't be the pussy that doesn't do it. So then you start to do things. And then it leads to more things. And oftentimes it's monetary at first. Hey, we need you to do initiation right now for this next level of the magical rainbow fucking empire, you know, like this magical made up thing right now that it has to happen right this moment. And you know what? Now you owe me $4,000. You sign on because the spirits are saying it's dire. Right.
And that's the horribly disrespectful part too, because you're using the spirits, saying the spirits say this to prey upon the people
and it
to
happens.
get the money.
Well, that's the best way
all
to
the
do
time,
it.
all the time.
Yeah, because you respect that person. But now, and the thing is, I'm not saying these people are not without merit as far as education and abilities. Often they have to have at least something. So they start to actually show you spiritual communication. You start to witness and experience like mind-bending shit that you haven't experienced before. Remember, you're a novice, right? You're just looking for a home. Now you found a home that's blowing your mind. But the good comes with much more bad. So you get to interact with spirits, but now all of a sudden the spirits need you to do X, Y, and Z. And you know what? It's going to cost you to have to do this, that, and this. And you're going to have to come up with a lot of money. You either got to do it now and say yes and join and do what we need you to, or you're going to leave. And that causes,
and you're out.
And the thing is just like scams so often do, they put panic in you. Like you have 10 minutes to decide or you're gone. And you're like, fuck, I can't come up with $4,000. Oh, shit. But I don't want to go back to the way life was. I don't want to go back. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll be in debt to you. And the thing is, it's not just about that person making money, which is very much a part of it. It's about the fact that they kind of like it when you don't pay them off right away. Because when you are indebted to someone, you are indebted to someone. They fucking own you now. You owe them $4,000 and now you're having a hard time paying it off. Well, you know what? It's just like any fucking loan shark. You still owe me the $3,500. You've only paid $500 back, but now I need you to do this, this, and this to pay off the interest because I'm starting to get kind of pissed off that you didn't pay me what you're supposed to be. So now I need you to do things for me. Take that as you will. And you still owe me the $3,500. So now you are indebted. You are becoming a slave. And oftentimes this does lead to deplorable things. It is, I don't think, a shock for anyone to know the degradation of humankind and how they use people. So that's when we start leading into molestation and grooming. That's how we start leading into rape and drugging people. Because a lot of these houses, just like Diddy, you know, we can use this Diddy thing as an example. There's people out there, just like some of you listening out there that don't belong to homes or to cults or anything like that, who have aspirations to be a great practitioner and really have a passion for this. Sarah, you were mentioning that you really want to be a part of something. I want you to take yourself as an example right now, Sarah, and I'm not trying to pick on you. You finally feel somewhere you feel like home. They start to make you think you need to do X, Y, and Z. You start to be indebted to them. And then next thing you know, you start getting drugged and you're not remembering certain nights of ritual. And you're starting to feel like something happened to you. And they're telling you, no, nothing happened to you. That was part of the spirits. The spirits interacted with you last night. The spirits came down and touched you last night. And then time goes on. You're more indebted to that group. You're more fucking sticky. You're more attached, right? And now more people start to get involved. And now it goes from maybe one person who was touching you and you're not even sure of to now the whole group's having their turn at you. And this isn't just women, guys. This is men, women. This is children. This is And that's the part we haven't talked about yet, is this is happening to adolescents who are teenagers who run away from home and are trying to find home somewhere. Oh, sure, come in. Our house would love to have you. We'll teach you how to be a great practitioner. It's only going to cause you getting fucked by us.
Frontal cortex is not developed.
Yeah, you don't know. You're a kid and you're like, okay. And you start to think it's almost normal. After a while, you're like, well, I mean, they're giving me home. They're giving me shelter. They're giving me food. They're teaching me knowledge. If I got to suck a dick from time to time, I guess it's okay. I mean, they're my friends, right? We're taking care of each other, right? And the thing is, and like I said, guys, this isn't like a one-off. I have been in the occult a very long time. I have involved myself with my shows so I can give a true perspective, because you have a lot of people who know a lot of people. I know a lot of fucking people. I've interviewed 50 some fucking occultists who run cults and who are massive authors. I have been involved in other organizations, and I belong to several houses that are reputable within the occult doing magic. But we know of the good and bad, and we come across a lot of bad. And we do hear about pedophilia. We do hear about rape. We do hear about gang rape. We do hear about drugging. We do hear about abuse, neglect. I mean, how long ago? Extortion. There was an incident that happened that I don't know much about, but I do know that this happened within the voodoo community, where a woman left the country and went to, I believe, Haiti, and either Haiti or Nigeria. I can't remember which one. It was like a year ago. And she went to get a initiation. She fucking died in the middle of initiation because of the neglect and how they treated her. And then they wouldn't send her body home. And her family didn't know what happened to her. They just knew that she died. They couldn't get her body back because sometimes other countries operate differently, and they just weren't sending her back. It was a big fuck you. She paid a ton of money to go over there and get murdered and to never make it back home. Family never see her again. Done. Haiti. We just Sherwin just dropped to Haiti. Yeah, I thought it was. And that's happening, guys. Like, you have to understand the glitz and glamour of Facebook groups of people talking all this game is the fucking icing on the cake. It's not the cake itself. It's only that frosting, that sweetness that makes you really like the cake. If you just served a cake with no icing, it would fucking suck, wouldn't it? If here's just a sponge, you know what I mean? No, you have to frost it. So Facebook is frosting. These groups are frosting. And people eat it up, but they're not seeing that behind all of these posts and these fucking people ego stroking themselves and self-masturbatory acts of grandiose delusions of grandeur lies people doing practices. And some of them, a lot of them are very legit, but a lot of them are just ways of human trafficking, of abuse and pain. And once again, I must stress the point to you. This is not just fucking Joe Schmo down the street, even though there's a lot of just those people doing it. We're talking people that I definitely, if I drop names right now, and I'm not going to, you know, you've heard of, you've maybe learned from. I will say it. I'll go as far as saying this, and this is a fucking bombshell, but I won't say any names. There's two individuals who have been on Knights of the Nephilim who I won't say are directly involved, but I will say are definitely involved in part of circles of rapists and pedophiles that I didn't know at the time until afterwards. I don't associate with these people, but I will say that there are two guests, and people say, holy fuck, I need to go back through the episodes. You're never going to probably guess it. I will tell you it's no one I associate with, so if you see me like supporting someone and having them back on a show, it's none of those people. But I will say that there has been people that have been on my show that I thought were great practitioners, to come to find out that there's a good chance that maybe they're doing the same fucking things. I'm sure they are, but I do know that their factions and cliques that they're involved with certainly are rapists and pedophiles. So that is some bombshells, and we're going to talk more about that, but that's the initial fucking heart of tonight's show. So I say this because you have to question everything. If you join a house, a clique, a coven, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and they start asking you to do things that don't sit right with you, get the fuck out. I don't care if you're losing your family. I don't care if you have to spend years by yourself as a solo practitioner, because honestly, you should spend years as a solo practitioner anyways. Because if you don't love yourself, if you haven't built the confidence in yourself, what the fuck do you have to offer a house anyway?
Yes.
You go to a house when you say, I'm a badass motherfucker, I love myself, I'm confident, and I can stand with the best of you in this whole motherfucker. But I still want to learn. Teach me. You need to have confidence. When you go like a shy, beaten dog and you're like, please just hug me, that is exactly the type of person that these motherfuckers hunt on and prey on. They see your weakness. They smell it from a mile away and they're like, look at this one. I bet they're tasty. We can lure them in easy. It's fishing to them. And that's exactly what's happening. So if you go into a house and you do not feel right about it, get the fuck out. And if you ever question your priest or priestess or whatever the fuck grandiose name, magus, any title that they give you, if you question them and they flip the fuck out and lose their shit, well, that should be one. You should be able to question your leader, not in a disrespectful way, but ask questions and question them. And they should be happy with that. You're learning. But the other thing is if they lose their shit and they flip out, well, wouldn't a master of magic be balanced and have equilibrium? So if they're flipping out, I would say that that's someone who can't even control their own emotions and intellectual bodies. So that would make me think that they are the farthest thing from a master. So wait a second, you're the master of a house, but you're not very much of a master, are you? So these are things you need to know. And I say this to you guys, and I'm putting ourselves out there because we might get some hate from this, because I'm sure there's some, I'm going to get back to some people, I'm sure. And I don't really give a fuck because they can all blow me. We'll flip the tables on them. They can blow me. It needs said because too many people too many people stay silent. Too many people, I understand not wanting to be embarrassed. I understand not wanting to oust people because of the danger of it. But I also understand that when you don't say something, then the next motherfucker is going to get it. And then the next motherfucker is going to get it. And it's the repeated cycle.
And I think that is honestly, like you said, we're putting ourselves out there. And I think that putting ourselves out there, that is the whole point of it. You can't hear about it over and over and over and over and then realize even the slightest, like having a guest on the show, even the slightest connection to that and not say something. That's just period where I stand on it. Things have to be said. And if people don't want to do something like this and go live and say it, we will do that. But I think I want to touch back on what Frater was saying about the intuition, because that is the biggest key thing, guys. You have to trust your gut and your intuition when you go into any sort of spiritual house, because your intuition is going to be the closest thing to that spiritual connection, right? There have been times where people, not many, but 3 people maybe, they came in the shop and they were like, I don't feel right in here. I don't feel good in here. Something's telling me this isn't good for me. And I was like, well, you should probably leave. You should trust yourself. Go. And that's not because I'm there to prey on them or anything, but the energies may not have been suited to them. So even if it's not about predatory magicians and practitioners, and it's just the energies in general, please, in general, just trust your fucking intuition. That is your biggest direction point.
That is, and I want to jump into some of these comments real quick. Nelson said that he once left all his money for initiation because of the reasons we just said. I was like, nope, whole life started spiraling. Something was wrong. He noticed it. He got the fuck out, and you need to.
Yes.
Bella said this is criminal, and it is criminal. These are enterprises. These are groups who, and the thing is, you have the victims of the group, but they end up getting Stockholm syndrome. They end up start to say they don't even know. They end up forming a relationship with their priest or priestess. They don't understand after a while that it's wrong. They become so accustomed to being raped and abused that it becomes everyday nature. And then they will even go, and here's the fucked up thing, they'll go out and bring friends in to get the same treatment they did, even though they somehow deep inside know that this is fucked. That trauma causes some type of blind, and you bring in more because all you want to do is please the master, right? And those masters love that. And oftentimes they're not very adept in magic, to be honest. They might be good. There's a difference between being good and being a master. They're not masters because masters aren't going to do that shit. Anybody preying on people like this isn't a master in my book. I don't give a fuck how good at magic they are. Because I know people that are very fucking efficient at magic and they don't need to do that. So it is something I think needs talked about. With the Haiti thing we talked about earlier, I want to jump on one of the comments. Sherwin said she was dead for almost 2 weeks before her family was even notified in the case of a voodoo ritual in Haiti. They fucking abused her, beat her, murdered her, and then they fucking kept her and her money. This shit isn't, you might say, oh my God, that's shocking. This isn't a one-off incident once again. This has happened again and again. People being murdered and killed in initiations and it being covered up. There is a whole dark website. I don't even say web because it's not on the web, so to speak. There's a whole dark underbelly of the occult, guys, that so many of you listening are like, what the fuck, man? Like, I understand we're devil worshippers and we do dark shit, or I understand that we're pagans and we do, and like, no, that's true. But you're not understanding that there are so many people on the internet talking to you, around you, influencing you, teaching you, that are horrible, horrible, despicable people. And it's truly heartbreaking. And some people could say, well, why aren't you saying names? The reason why is because I'm not stupid. I will bring it to attention and people can do their own research. I'm not going to call out a dozen names and have a fucking hit on my head. Because that's just stupid. But I will say enough that you guys will know. I say enough that you guys can learn from this experience. If it makes some of these cockroaches fucking squirm and run away, good. Little fuckers, like, yeah, I know your fucking deeds. And I'm not scared of you, but I'm also not going to fucking call you out. You know who you are. Some of you assholes might be listening right now.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be called out by name. To make it known so that anybody that may be listening and get this little twinge of like, oh shit, like that sounds kind of like a situation that I find myself in right now. It's not safe. Get out.
Well, and that's the thing is like you said, question everything, including us. That's what we've always said. It's been our slogan.
Always.
Guys.
Yeah.
Question. I'm not going to get mad if you question me. If you're a little cocksucker about it, I might. But like I said, if you say, Crow, I don't know if I jive with some of the things you're teaching. Let me ask you questions. I'm going to be like, bring it on. Let's get it. Like, let's shoot the shit a little bit. Let's figure it out. Maybe I'll give you a different perspective. You'll give me a different one. But one thing I will say about us is we have interacted between Natasha's shop, between students that I've taken on and taught, between my radio shows, between public and private rituals, and everything that we've been involved with over the years. We have interacted with thousands of people. There is not one person that's going to tell you we ever tried to fuck them, molest them, touch them, rob them, beat them, lie to them, cheat them, manipulate. None of it. And if one did, I would have to be, very shocked that they're not trying to fucking gain something out of it, because I have dealt with enough people, and Natasha as well, that can only give us 4 stars, only give us 2 thumbs. We have integrity to the end of the fucking universe. We pride ourselves on it. That's why an episode like tonight had to be made, because it keeps coming up again and again, what we're seeing and hearing.
Yeah.
What we know. And
it's hard to carry that without saying something.
Yeah, I think just for you guys listening, this is a teaching show. This is something that you guys grow from.
Exactly.
How can we teach you to become masters, but not teach you to watch out for the monsters?
Exactly.
It's hard to become a master if you get snagged by a monster. Let's read some of these comments. Predators in plain sight. Sarah said, I always get the you are a chosen one because of what I've survived, what I have. It's believable. But I always get taken advantage of. Lost more energy than money. Money.
Can I answer this one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sarah, it's not about being a chosen one. It's about you having a purpose, and that doesn't mean a grandiose, huge scheme of purpose the way that these people will try to tell you in order to take advantage of you. It just means that you're still supposed to fucking be here. You still got shit to do. So, anyway, that's on my list of red flags that I'm gonna do here at some point. But
yeah, we're gonna go over those as well. We'll get to structured more than just chit chatting and fucking dropping bombs. We have Amber saying, "Hey, you two," and then she put 2 because I think she didn't mean to put TOO. And then MDKH says, you two are the only ones I will bring my questions to and feel that I get correct information. And we get told that quite often, that like, wow, you took time to answer my question. I'm a nobody. Like, no, you're not a nobody. You're someone trying to learn, because I was once that nobody trying to learn, right? Or that somebody.
Was I.
You know, and I always tell everybody, I'm still a student on this first day. I don't care how far I've come. I don't care the titles that I've been given. I don't care the factions or groups that I belong to. That's amazing, but I'm still a student on this first day learning just like you, but I will always give my advice, and I always say take what resonates and discard the rest. You're not going to agree with 100% of it, but maybe 40% of it's going to change your life. And I promise you, I'll never try to do some weird shit on you. I'll never do some Diddy shit on you. 100%, never going to happen. Yes. Cindy said, yes, I have seen this so often. I read everyone and everything, much less if they are trying to be like that. I'm not sure exactly which part that was too, because there's so many comments, but I agree. Jade said, I'm here. Hello. Cindy said, so bad in Florida, raised in Southern hoodoo, folk magic, and fam and Santhria, seen it with both. Yeah, unfortunately with the ATRs, there's a lot of fucked up shit going on. And there is with the satanic community as well. I just hear a lot more of the ATR stuff that happens than I do the satanic community. But let's not blind any of you to say that there's not satanic covens out there doing some fucky shit. There is. I said fucky, like funky, but I said fucky. They're doing some fucky shit, which is true too.
I mean, they kind of are doing fucky shit, like on a multitude of different levels. So I feel like
get off that fucky shit.
Yeah.
MDKH says, I had an experience with that, a man from Facebook group that was telling me stuff that on one thing I decided to Google search some of what he was saying and started seeing he was lying to me about it. Now, what I will say in someone's defense is you're going to have a lot of different takes on it. Our path as the Coterie of Samil and what we teach and what we practice, there are other practitioners that might see it and say that, once again, that is not at all what I believe or how I do it, or the history and the lore that you're using is like, that's not what I know or I've been taught. Well, I don't give a shit. Like, there's other sources that I probably know of and have learned from that you don't know of. So it's like, that's what made my bedrock of my practice. So there can be, MDKH, a reason that you search something and it's different than what somebody says, because they could be on a different frequency. Someone has to establish their own lore. It's a very big, important part of practice.
Yes.
But there's that, and then there's just straight out fucking lying to people. And a lot of the modern occult books are just garbage. They're just fucking pages filled with wasted ink, slapped on there to say a bunch of cool shit and sell books. There's a whole publishing
hashtag.
There's a whole publishing house that's made quite the name and quite a lot of money off it, just publishing a bunch of fucking garbage. Once again, no names. They're out there though. You can figure it out. Sherwin said, find out who initiated or taught them first and foremost. And that is a very important point. Yes. I want to get on that in a second. Then talk to their initiator. And if their initiator is dead, talk to the more senior people in that house. If they got good kids or mentees, then talk to them. If every single thing is a secret, then it's not all a secret. They just don't know and want to sound mysterious. And that is a very good point. Yes. There is a church that I destroyed a few years ago. When I say church, I don't mean like a Christian church. I mean, there was a satanic fuckery that was going on. I made a Facebook. You guys can search it. It's on my list. They were starting to make a name for themselves. I haven't heard a fucking peep from them in a couple of years. I know they're still out there, but like no one cares anymore. I fucking dropped so many bombs on these fuckers that like you just don't hear from them.
I don't get any more good morning messages.
Yeah, no more messages from these folks. The reason I bring them up is that they claim to be like the 34th or 36th generation of their lineage. And that's interesting because no matter how hard you search, you can only find 3 of them. And they're still alive, all 3 of them. Well, I think the one died and there's two successors. But they claim that we are the 36th generation and there was the 35th who passed it on to the 36th. So we dealt with the 36th or whatever number he was, right? But how come no matter how fucking far I look, I can't find you past 10 years ago? And that's fine. Maybe you were secret, right? but there's nothing at all mentioning any other name except the 3 names that we knew about. So you start to build this grandiose thing that we are a secret lineage that has been around for 14,000 years. I am the 700th priest of the... No, you're not, bro. You are a fucking LARPer in costume trying to get people on Facebook to jerk you off, and I'm not about it. And just like Sherwin said, I want to know who your mentor was. I want to know who your brothers and sisters in the lineage growing up with you that were taught alongside of you. Because if I can't talk to your elders who taught you to see what kind of character you have, I want to talk to your fucking brothers and sisters, because they're going to probably be gritty. Like, yeah, he was great. She was great. Or I hated that motherfucker when we were in the same coven or cult together, and don't trust them. You're going to get some truth. But whenever they say, oh, no, there's no one you can talk to other than me. You're not allowed to talk to the elders. They don't speak to people. You can't talk to my brothers and sisters. You talk only to me. Yeah, bro, I'm out. Peace. Like, I don't need your fucking knowledge that bad. I'll find it on my own.
And I think that just to throw in on the whole lineage thing, you know, that would be like if when we went public with this last May in 2024, if we had been like, we've been around for the last 500 years doing this, but there's nobody else for you to find. Like, I don't understand the mindset, I guess, that people have, that they're just like, oh, everybody's just gonna eat it and is too stupid to like turn the box around and read the ingredients. Do you know what I mean? That's another reason why we're always like, question us, question everything.
The
just
post
question it
right now, I think, says it all. Your magic is only as strong as your integrity, and that is a big thing. And a lot of people lack integrity these days. And like I said, you have to trust your gut. If you feel it's wrong, it's wrong. There's something off about it. Cindy says nothing but respect from every interaction with you guys, and that's all we aim for. I mean, it's weird to say like we are such great people, but like we do take the time to help people. We've always ever been honest. There isn't a person on this fucking earth, and it's a little bit different for the two of us because Natasha has a shop and still does her services. She will have a church and a shop again, and those are services, and there's nothing wrong with selling those services. But I speak only for myself at this moment. I have helped thousands. There's not one of you motherfuckers that can say I ever made you pay $1. I have earned nothing from any fucking person I've ever taught, that I've ever apprenticed, that I've ever done anything. And there's been quite a few of you. And never once has I ever charged anything. Never once have I been an asshole to you and just told you to fuck off. That's saying something. That right there is integrity. That's what makes the magic.
Yeah.
Sarah says, Natasha is always honest too, and I love that. I don't need the sugarcoat. Shouldn't get sugarcoated. It's okay for your mentor or whoever you go to be raw about things and not sugarcoat it, but to also not be a piece of shit or a prick either about it. There's ways of teaching people and being stern
while
and
still being compassionate.
Yeah, while still having some compassion there. Those fucky bastards, because of what I said earlier. Fucky.
I like it.
I like it too. I'm going to start using it. Nelson said, I kind of gave up for a while on everything and decided to take a break. So yeah, it's crazy out there. And that's the sad part, is what this causes, guys, is not only trauma and abuse and horrible memories, but it causes so many aspiring magicians who could have been the next Aleister Crowley, who could have been the next fucking Kenneth Grant, could have been the next, you know, who do I want to name? Could have been the next Eliphas Levi. Could have been the next greats, you know? And they're not, because they met the wrong person. They fell for the wrong coven or cult who used, abused, destroyed them. And now they never go back to magic again. And the rest of their life, all they have is the horrible memories of what happened to them by some piece of shit who should have never been in this community to begin with. See, so many in this community fear the witch hunts again. Not only the ones in ancient times where we were burned, but even the satanic panic of the 80s where people were imprisoned unjustly.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. I don't want to see the Christians or anybody have anything to do with that. But I wouldn't mind seeing where we handle our own fucking vile creatures within our community. Where when there was a rabid dog in our township of the left-handed path, we string them the fuck. Because if you're out there raping, molesting, or doing pedophilia to children out there and taking advantage of them, I would have no problem watching you burn alive right in front of me with no sorrow whatsoever. I would actually enjoy looking into your eyes as you go.
I would have to agree with that.
I think that there needs to be more accountability, and I think that people need to start taking action on things. And I won't say too much because I don't want the government to come down on me. I'm just saying, in a fantasy world, wouldn't that be cool?
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically? This was all hypothetical, guys.
All of this. This is for entertainment purposes only.
That's right. We would never
just like my tarot readings.
Agreed, Sherwin. If they are not connected with their elders, that's a red flag. Yeah, 100%. It's okay to split away from like different parts and create your own thing as long as it's warranted. But like if you learn from your elders and your elders don't like if your mentors don't like you, that's probably a problem. If you're not connected to them. Have a great night, everyone. Respect. Your eyes look super dark tonight. And she's talking to you, and keep telling them, Frater. I'm trying to. Agreed. If they are not, okay, I read that one. Lacey put a laughing face. The amount of practitioners online, and then we'll jump into these bullet points here after I get these comments. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get through them, but we're also trying to answer all you. The amount of practitioners online that try to scam people is ridiculous. So many accounts, if you follow them, immediately message you with, I feel calling to read your cards, or my spirits are telling me you need help. And yeah, there's a lot of that, like, oh, there's something you need to know right away. And that's the miniature scale of it, right? Yeah. We're talking about people who do this on thousands of dollars. We know individuals who literally are saying like, oh, the spirit has just come to me, and they're reputable. So people trust them, and they're like, you need to have this, and this done spiritually right now, but this is a several $1,000 ordeal, but you need it to save your life. This is very dire. They create that panic, like we said, and then you're indebted to them. You end up paying the money so they get the financial aspect, but then they also own you for the next couple of years until you pay it off, and they get to do all kinds of fucky shit to you while you pay it off. And it's really messed up, and it happens quite a bit. And you got to watch out for those Nigerians too. And the reason I say this, and I'm laughing to myself, because there was a group I was a part of one time, and all these Nigerians came in, and they were putting these videos up that looked mind blowing. Like they would wave their hands and candles would light, right? And they would like, and the candles would go out, and it looked like the craziest magic you've ever seen. But like if you looked closely, you would see like another guy in the background with like a fan down below blowing the candles out. Like the craziest shit. These guys were trying to fucking rob everybody. It was hilarious, but also
they needed some help on video production.
Yeah, they needed some video production.
They needed me.
There's people falling for it though and paying them. And like I said, there's a lot of that. Hold on, I didn't read this one. Replying to Ryan, the amount of strangers that have an important message from my ancestors is astounding. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy out here. Lots of fuckery going on, or fuckeria.
I like that too, John.
Chelsea said, have to drive, so we'll catch the rest a little later. Good night. Good night, Chelsea. That's the body bag special. I don't know what part that was involved in, but
I do. So yeah.
Okay, as long as you're staying with it. Sherwin said, if they charge for everything, the money isn't helping the house, then that's a red flag. Yeah, I mean,
that's a good point.
Yeah, that is a good point. Like if you're not seeing like things happen, like if all of a sudden all the furniture is being replaced and everything's getting nicer and more grandiose, okay, like your money's going somewhere. If you keep paying all this money and they're getting all these services to people in public, but nothing ever changes, who's getting that money? That fucking high priest is getting all that money, right? So you're all doing work for him. He's making the money. You're all doing fucked up shit for him. He's enjoying it. Like, people think that, like, for some reason, like left-hand path, or especially Satanists, they're like, we're supposed to live deliciously. Shut the fuck up. There's a difference between having a great life and living deliciously and raping and fucking molesting people. That's not part of the living deliciously, folks.
Yeah.
That's the part of where we, hypothetically, you're lit on fire.
You're doing the same thing they can do with the Bible. Just take it and turn it into the way you want to hear it to make you sleep better at night.
Sarah said, I went through more abuse in the Christian community, but I've been way more cautious since my new path. And that's the thing, guys. We're not saying it's only the left-hand path. Obviously, how many priests have touched children over the years? How much happened? We don't even need to get on that fucking soapbox.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that.
That's
This is
common knowledge.
You know, and this is the other side of the road. The other side of the road is not always the better side. You're like, I got to get away from these priests, man. What the fuck? And then you jump over here and then there's sharks swimming everywhere. So yes, both sides are fucked, right? There's great on both sides and there's evil on both sides. And I mean, true evil. Worshiping the devil and worshiping demons and doing things like that, it doesn't make you an evil person. You can be a great person and do that. I consider myself one of them. But there's true evil out there. Right. People doing this shit. Yeah, John's slogan: make spirituality accountable again.
That I saw that John. I'm here for that. You get all the finger snaps. Ooh, that's all I fucking want. You do it right. Poetry jam. All right, no, you don't get to come to poetry night.
Listen. All I can say is, wouldn't be a show without my horns. Nelson says, baby, yes, they stay in the inbox. Yes, they do.
Yeah,
I get left alone because I don't think people want to deal with me because I'm just too blunt. Like, I'm nice. People are like, there's a message from your ancestors. I'm like, bitch, I was talking to my ancestors last night. Like, I don't need your fucking advice. Like, not to be cocky, but when they try to give me that scam shit, I'm not about it. So people just leave me alone usually. Now I'm going to get 5 messages tomorrow. Nobody can tell you if you should get initiated without divination. And that's a very good point. Like if someone's all of a sudden like, what is that?
Agreed.
They're talking to like the air and they're like, the spirit just told me you must be initiated right now. Yeah, bullshit, bro. Bull fucking shit. First off, you can have spiritual senses and things. To have a full-blown conversation with a spirit, you're in ritual. I don't care who you are. You might get inklings of things. Absolutely. You're not having a full-blown conversation unless you're doing some deep shit. And you can't really know if someone's supposed to be in ritual unless you're doing divination on it first. Anybody tells you difference because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And once again, there's a lot of that. It's easy in the day and age that we're in right now to call yourself a magus, to call yourself whatever term you want to go with. You can have no. And that's the thing is like, who made you the magus? There's usually not an answer, right? So it's like, yeah, so you made yourself one, didn't you? You son of a bitch. You gave yourself that name, didn't you? And you're like, well. So like, hey, you just lost all credibility, bro. That's why I don't like using that term. I only do because I do run a satanic cult. So like, I will use it from time to time. I don't like calling myself that. I'm just a student. All right, let's look at these last couple comments and let's read you some bullet points. Okay, so facts. Can you touch a bit on how these predators aren't necessarily tapping into spirit, but negative for it? Okay, so let's jump back to that in just 1 second. Let's finish these others two. That's some aggressive snapping. And MDKH says,
he needs to be graceful.
My uncle/pastor molested me from age 2 until I was 9, and then a woman molested me from 13 to 17. And these things are horrible, and they happen outside. And first off, I'm sorry to hear that. They happen outside of just the spiritual community. Why it is so dangerous in the spiritual community is everyday life, obviously, it's dangerous as well. But what do people look for in spirituality? They look for salvation in one form or another, whether that's finding salvation in yourself or finding salvation in Sky Daddy. Doesn't matter. People come to spirituality because they have faith and they want to have an interaction with spirit and they want to learn and they're hungry for spirituality. So as a novice, you always come in as a novice, right? You always look to learn from books and from podcasts and from shows that have people on it to learning in person or through videos and things. You're always looking for that mentor. So it's so easy if you're someone with enough knowledge that you call yourself a mentor that you can then just start roping them in. If I were to take a different path in life, I could have been an evil motherfucker. You know how many people I could rope in, do this atrocious shit? And I couldn't even imagine doing it or whatever I want to. Like, that's crazy to me. But like, it wouldn't be hard, guys. And that's the sad thing. It's not a hard thing to do.
it could actually be so easy is the problem.
Don't be so gullible. It's okay to want to learn and trust things, but also question everything. Let's talk about Kayumbas. Let's talk about lemurs, some people call them. Let's talk about parasites. Let's talk about demons in the truest sense, not the names of the Lebegatans Goetia or the Grand Grimoire or any of the books you're used to when you hear demons, because those are more daemons or just ancient gods who have been demified. We're going to talk about actual demons, and what we're speaking of is going to be, a lot of these folks talk about working with high spirits. Once again, a true adept is going to be balanced. They're going to have equilibrium. You're not going to notice all these faults in them. You're not going to notice them doing all these horrible things. These are people who not only are horrible people outright, but because they're horrible, they attract horrible spirit.
Thanks. Yeah.
And those horrible spirits love the fact that they're doing off that. And not only then is it them doing the horrible things, but then these spirits set in. So someone who's a rapist and a molester, right? They're already doing these things, but now they take it to a higher and higher scale. Now it goes from they were doing it to one person to now there's 15 people they're doing it to in a cult, right? It's because not only are they getting more power and they can do that, but the spirit's telling them, do it. And it's starting to make they're starting to get really hungry, and it makes that person more hungry. So as the spirit seeps in, becomes attached to you, it is telling you, I'm hungry, which is making you think you're more hungry for your appetites, which is horrible things. So then you start doing more. It is true that demons are real, folks. In the truest sense, demons, parasites, they are real. They do make you obsessive.
Yeah.
They do feed off you. They do feed off pain, sorrow, and hurt. And they will make you hurt other people so that they can eat while they slowly destroy you. As they disintegrate your vessel and you eventually get sick and die, they jump to someone else. They will ride you like a fucking horse until your legs break and you fall down and they put the horse down. But while they're doing that, they're going to cause you to cause all kinds of chaos in your path. So as some folks said, Kayumbas, and it's a term that a lot of you guys wouldn't understand except outside of the ATRs and outside of Kimbanda, that is what Kayumbas are, is they are parasites. They are a group of spirits that a lot of people, unfortunately, are working with, whether they know it or not. And a lot of people don't realize they're working with. They think they have this great connection with the spirits that they're telling you they're working with.
Sorry.
And this goes back to a post, ironically, to Baron and Baronessa Aragni that I just seen 15 minutes before we started the show tonight, where they mentioned that a lot of times the spirits you call down are not the spirits that arrive. And a lot of people feel the atmospheric shift. They feel the power in the room. They feel the tingle on the back of their neck. And they instantly, without question, are like, hello, hello, Paimon. Welcome. And it's not Paimon. You know what I mean? It's something completely different. It's like, well, shit, if you're going to call me that and you're going to give me offerings and you're going to drip your blood all over this table, yes. And then it'll be fucking Paimon until the day you die. But it's not Paimon. So you have to be discerning. A lot of these people.
That sounds uncomfortably familiar. Exactly. Go ahead.
And with the talk on Kayumbas, there are a lot of, we'll just use Kimbanda, for example. There are a lot of groups of Kimbanda that are claiming to have very tight association with the Maoro and with Eshu and Pompegira, and I don't think that they're working with Eshu and Pompegira. I think they're working with demonic Kayumbas, and their whole group is sitting in a fucking orgy of parasites. Can you imagine climbing down into a tank of leeches? Well, that's what they're doing spiritually.
Yeah, take that visual.
I want you to think of that visual of a swimming pool of leeches. Not water, just solid leeches. Then, like that and that shit. And that's what they're doing spiritually. And then they're showing all these videos and talking about how enlightened they are and talking about how far they've come and how potent their magic is. And it's like, bro, it's really not, though. You have something riding you, whispering into your ear all this nonsense that you're spewing to the rest of the world because it eats up your ass and it eats up all the dumbasses following you and all of the fucking, and now we live in a social age, so the more likes and clicks and shares, that thing's like, fuck, yes.
It's just feeding the power, yeah.
So,
I think that happens consistently. I've seen it. It just happened recently to a somebody, left-hand path practitioner, supposedly working with Qliphothic realms. And that was the same thing. You can see it in their eyes too. The eyes will very often
the eyes
give
give it away. And the thing is, guys, as you get more adept in your practice, the eyes will tell a lot in a lot of ways. I see other people without them saying a word, and I know they're diabolists, but a true diabolist. They're working with some high powers, and I can see it in their eyes. And every once in a while, there's a nod between us, and we see each other. Sometimes they don't even know I see it, but I'm like, oh, that motherfucker over there is legit. But there's a different look when someone has parasites on them and someone has demons driving them insane. I want to give you a quick example, and I want Natasha to jump in and talk for a while because I talked way too much tonight. Yeah. There's a guy that same type of ordeal. He has no magic whatsoever. This guy's a fucking clown. And he has his little cult. And he took a hatred to me for some reason. I have no idea, because he was like, fucking, the dude would have blew me if I asked him to. I was nothing but nice to the guy. But for some reason, like, I guess whenever he realized I didn't care to, like, you know, be a part of whatever the fuck he was doing, be his friend. Like, I was just like, hey, dude, I'll be nice to you, but we're not buddies. He like turned on me, and people believe this guy is an actual practitioner. They believe he has power. And he gathered this little group, and he has people that pay him, and it's the only source of money this guy has, I think. And you can see it in his face, his bloated face, his ill, pale, sickly looking face. And in his eyes, you can see there are parasites on him. Like, legit, this dude is festering with parasites. But the thing is, so easy. He had this whole coven that he gathered. I say that loosely because they're not a real coven. Most of them are like mentally retarded, I think. Like, and I'm not saying that rudely. I'm saying, like, I think they actually might be slow. And he's got these people that follow him to start cursing me, right? This was a couple years ago. And I had like one of them reach out to me. She was a fucking moron. And she's like, I don't want to be a part of his group anymore. And he was having me and like 20 other people curse you and your children and your family or whatever, going to try to kill you and blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, like, I fucking forgot about this guy. So I'm like, oh, okay. Like, what the fuck? But like, you watch his videos and they're hilarious. They're not scary. They're funny. But you can see that he's got parasites on him. You can see he's ill. But he also, as terrifying as that is, as terrifying as this is, he has an entire group that follows him as their leader. They trust in this guy. They believe the fucking shit he's saying, and it's so obvious that it's comical that you're like, this dude is the farthest thing from legit. Yeah. That it shows you that people want to be accepted and find something so badly that they'll accept anything, even when it's right in their face that it's fake. And the reason that I'm still standing here today, when they spent years of 30 of them cursing me and it didn't do a fucking thing, is because none of them actually know magic between the 30 of them. And I haven't struck back on them because why would I? It's actually funny watching them. It gives me enjoyment from time to time. So if you're listening out there, fuckface, keep doing what you're doing. It's funny. It's really funny shit.
Get off my page.
I curse you. I curse you. You guys don't understand what that's about, but if you watched his videos, you would. All right, on to the next thing, and then Natasha can jump into her list. Hold on, let me jump up. I'm try to catch up with these quick because I know we're running out of time. Holy fuck, where are we at here? Way up here. I know of a church in the area that put a pedophile in charge of the youth. He goes on trips with them, teaches them. When the church was confronted, they said he deserves that chance. He deserves that chance to touch children.
That happens a lot.
And those motherfuckers should be burned too, hypothetically. It is very easy, but it's not who we are as practitioners, or rather what we should not be.
That's right.
I know people who recently left that church because of this. Oop, let me throw that up. Like the fascists in the satanic community. Yeah, there's a fucking huge Nazi presence in the satanic community. And it's like a lot of them are anti-cosmic Satanists, which is weird because like that's a big part of my practice for years. And like a lot of them would approach me like, you should join us. And I'm like, nah, bro. Like, I think if you understood anything,
We're not on
if
the
you
same
understood anything
page.
about, you'd understand that is absolutely the fucking furthest thing. Like, I hate bigots. I hate Nazis. I hate fascists. I have no problem with anyone. If you want to be gay, you want to be trans, bi, I don't care. If you're white, black, Hispanic, I don't give a shit. Like, if you're a good person, I'm going to like you. If you're a piece of shit, I'm going to hate you. That's just how it goes. I don't give a fuck what you are. Equality. And so the people are like, oh, anti-cosmic, but we got to kill everything that's not white. I'm like, yeah, please just never fucking message me again, like, ever, and go eat a dick and die. Let's take a look. Yeah, but there's way too many of those. I don't really get it. Like, we're anti-cosmic, so that means we have to hate everybody. No, actually, that doesn't, bro. If I sent you a picture of me, could you tell me if I had parasites? It depends, man. There's a glimmer that pictures are harder. It's when I'm seeing always. Someone, like when I'm interacting and talking to them, that I sometimes will see it. It doesn't always show itself. It depends on the level of the parasite you're dealing with. If they're just low-level parasites, usually they're easy to spot. Like this guy I just mentioned with Darth Vader hands. He has so many on him that it's like I said, looking in the swimming pool of fucking leeches. But there's ones that are very powerful, strong, old, parasitic entities. They don't show themselves easily. You're not going to spot them easily. But there's usually ways you can tell by the way the person acts, talks, their being, their cadence, their mannerisms. There is telltale signs. And here's the other thing. We talked about it before. Yeah. Not a lot of practitioners do cleansings. If you're not cleansing yourself, your house, your tools, your aura around you once to twice a month at least, I'm a little skeptical on you, bro. And I know practitioners like, well, I don't do cleansings ever. I'm like, right. Like, either you're not actually practicing,
I like to just
or you're just fucking soaking in horrible, horrible things. All right, we're gonna do your list. We have some laughy faces. We have him saying privately, of course, yeah, you can send it. I'll try. I'll tell you if I see anything and give you some suggestions, as I always do. Like I said, I'm always very approachable to anyone out there. If I don't get back to you right away, I will. I do have a lot of other shit going on, but I will always get back to you within a couple of days. Darth Vader hands. Fucking, you are cursed. I wish it was that easy, right? Definitely the eyes. The other day, I was at a restaurant with my friend, and this creep was making perverted eyes at her. She was afraid to go to the bathroom, and I just turned around and looked at him in the eyes. He looked like he saw hell itself and fucking bolted out the door. She came back to the table and said, my eyes looked scary. I blinked and was normal again. Well, that's different, though. That is bringing out the inner rage, and that is your spirits, John, coming through you, protecting those you care about.
For you, yeah.
But like this dude, when you look at his eyes, you see illness. There's a very, 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 very famous occultist, I guess you want to call him that is known by a lot of the world, that used to look normal, and then all of a sudden got real bloated and started looking real sickly. And it's not the guy I was talking about a minute ago. And you can see that he has some shit on him, and he's a world famous author, and he writes all these books, and all these people follow him, and he made an empire. And it's like, bruh, you might want to take some fucking spiritual baths, bruh. You don't look too fucking good.
Use the cedar stick.
Fucking cedar stick. Use some fucking plant medicine, man. Take a bath in some plant medicine, because for the love of God, man, like, I can't look at your fucking bloated demon face anymore. All right, lists always, absolutely lists. Now, Natasha, please, I'm shutting up now.
She gets
Go
it.
into your book.
Are you? Just into my book. Hold on. I put the list away. Okay. I have gone off on rants before because, unlike Crow, who absolutely refuses to be part of any TikTok involvement, I have to see a bunch of shit on there, and that is probably one of the most toxic places for spiritual, occult, pagan, witchcraft, whatever definition or title you want to give it, left-hand path included. And I think that one of the reasons that it upsets me is the danger of it. So quite some time ago, I made a big thing about healers in that community because, there's a lot of red flags to look for in a healer, so to speak, that are going to be a lot of the same as some of these supposed leaders of the community. So I just want to go through these a little bit. If somebody comes to you and tells you as a healer that they are completely healed. They have nothing that they struggle with. They are 100% all the time. That's kind of a red flag. But black and white thinking, if they are not able to, as Pro says all the time, the point of pivot, the place of pivot, if they're not able to switch around their view in order to see things in a different color, I would go as far as to say don't have the intelligence or the wherewithal to be a good leader. Inability to process any criticism or disagreement, easily triggered or defensive, can't admit fault or flaw, no accountability. Like John said, bring the fucking accountability back. Believes that they know better than everyone. Nobody else can teach you anything. Only they can. They are the truth. Inability to see from any other perspective. That master instead of a student mindset. You can only learn from them, like I said, no one else. And you cannot question them. If they rush your process, if they, like Sarah was talking about, come at you with like, oh, you are so gifted and you have all of these things and you are, like we were talking about with the ball of clay, you know, you have to actually mold it into a pretty jar for it to be something. Otherwise, it's just a ball of clay. They're just giving you all of these blind accolades. That's not a good sign. That's them buttering you up or trying to make you feel special because they sense that need in you to feel special. And that's dangerous. Divine spiritual insight that goes against your intuition, like we were talking about. If they disempower you to make themselves feel powerful, red flag. Or, like I said, overpower you blindly. You haven't done any of the work, but they amp you up, encourage that grandiose thinking. Those things are like pathways to sending people into spiritual psychosis. And that is one of the other things that I really have a problem with a lot of these groups with, because there's no discernment at all. They'll just keep pushing these people and pushing these people. And if you are going through a true awakening of some sort, that shit gets wild. You have to have that discernment. So if you have a supposed leader that is pushing you down the hill and everything's just snowball affecting, you're not going to get anywhere, and you may even really get yourself in trouble. So that's a big problem. They need your belief or your faith in order to enlarge their own ego. A lot of these people online, they need the likes, they need the views, they need the followers, they need to have people commenting, they need to have, what do I always call it, the Patron, the Patreon, whatever the fuck that site is called. They need to have that. I'm never
You need to have
going
a
to have
bottle
one.
of Patron, guys.
Yeah. Anytime that somebody as your teacher or whatever comes to you asking sexual favors, that's probably a red flag. And then we discussed all the preying on people who are lost and searching because they're easy targets. But the other thing that I want to talk about is men in the occult scene. As a woman in the occult scene, well, one of the things that you don't want
Real
snacks?
quick, before you go in, I'm just going to throw this up real
go.
quick. My ex-healer swears he's Archangel Michael or Michael.
Sarah, I don't want to talk about that dude, okay? I told you my thoughts.
Anytime someone tells you they're the reincarnation of another person or they are a magical spirit, just leave, please. Like, if anybody's like, I am Aleister Crowley reborn, shut the fuck up. If anybody tells you that, like, I am Abaddon in the flesh, no, they're not. Please get the fuck away from them. Go continue, please.
All right, men. So, there are a lot of trending videos or whatever that were going around with the occult community and men as being so predatory in the occult community. Most of them made by women in the left-hand path community, because a lot of these dudes use it as a way to get their dick wet, to just drag these women that are searching for something, just like any other abusive relationship, into this, oh, you're so special, oh, let me love bomb you, but now we're doing it from like an occult sense, let me put you up on a pedestal. And then they get what they want, and then they throw the girl to the side and she's like, I thought I was like, you know, doing all these things. And it's hurtful and it's harmful, and a lot of them do even end up in like, you know, bad cases. But I think that it is important to understand that it is not everyone. And I got a lot of shit for saying that actually online, because it is again about accountability and it is about integrity. And those are the things that you need to be looking for. They're all against the straight white male vibe. And while not all of the men that I work with are straight white males, a lot of you, like obviously we work together. You know, Ryan and EJ and I work very closely, and you know, there's just a lot of, now see, I got set off on my rant and then now I don't know where I'm going with this, but basically you have to be careful also of that, because those same people that are trashing men in the community, there's a lot that are pulling in those broken women or left behind women or whatever, and then they start feeding on that. So now you're being vampirically taken by this group of like pissed off women, and you're honestly giving a lot of energy that they're claiming you would have given to the other group. Does that make sense? Because I went in a circle. Okay. So any time basically that somebody is saying that there's a certain group of people that you should watch out for, even as we're doing tonight, I think that it's very important that you do your own research, that you question everything, like we say, that you investigate into things for yourself before you get involved in them. But that's just one of the things that, and it's not like a victim blaming thing, but like look into what you're doing was one of the things that I told the one girl that I got into it with, because a lot of it is there, black and white, right in front of your face, and people go anyway. And that's because a lot of people, like we said in the very beginning, are so hungry, so starved for that community feeling. So
Well, and you have people who feed that. They feed that, like, you need to be a part of this. If you're not a part of this, then where are you? You don't belong.
And you don't need
Guys, there's nothing wrong with being a solo practitioner your entire life.
100%.
I love the fact of the covens or cults that I'm involved with. We run the Coterie of Samil. We are a satanic, or I don't even like to call it satanic. We are a cult of diabolism. And we love that. And I am involved in Kimbanda, and I'm involved in some other things. I love the fact of being a part of those. But at the end of the day, I am only 20% that. I'm 80% solo practitioner. Most of the time I'm over in my temple by myself doing my own shit. Don't feel that you need to depend on other people and be a part of other things to make yourself valid. You are valid just the way you are.
Right.
Yes, you need to study, you need to research, you need to learn, and you need to practice. The other big crutch is people spend so much time reading to feel like that they're ready to do magic, and by the time you're done reading, you're dead. And you never actually did any magic. Get the fuck in the circle like Knights of the Nephilim. Step into the circle, as the slogan goes. You must do that. But that's another thing. If you ever find a teacher, and I'm sorry to jump in there, but if you ever find a teacher who seems to only push you to research, has never given you any practical knowledge, it's always...
Then that teacher probably haven't
done it. Yeah. And it's a cop-out that is like, keep reading this. Yeah, we'll let you know when you're ready. I'll let you know when you're ready. And it's like, I've been here for 7 fucking years. When am I going to be ready? You're not quite there yet. It's just because it's buying time.
And now that's not to say that you shouldn't start with the foundation, because that is one of the first foundational parts of the practice. But it shouldn't be for 7 years. It doesn't take you 7 years to step off the curb, you know?
It shouldn't. And I'm looking at some comments that came in here. Hold on. The Patron gets me every time. Yeah, it's Patreon. She can't say it, so we always say Patron. So it goes from being like a paid service to a fucking party. She's She says, I know he is, and I talk to Mike all the time. I've been since a kid. We are a community of solitaries, even in covens. It's a coven of solitary practitioners because we have work to do on our own. And that's really what it is. Everyone, I expect everyone as part of the Coterie, all of my members, to do their own work, and they got to check back in with me. We're doing our own work. And then we get together for large-scale rituals. And then everybody goes off and does their own fucking work. You need to be accountable of your shit. And then we get together and work together. We are a cult. I don't like the word coven. I never liked that. We are a cult, but we are a cult of individual practitioners, as you said, John. And Jerry said, what would your advice for those trying to get out of these toxic communities be? That's a tough question.
I think, it honestly is a tough question, because the thing is, in order to, when you're in an abusive relationship, because let's be honest, that's what that is, right? So when you're in an abusive relationship, the last thing that you want to do is strike out on your own. Like, you feel like you need that support. And okay, domestic violence or whatever, you have programs like Voice and different social programs that can help you with that. But what do you do with a spiritual abusive relationship? You are going to have a lot of self-bravery. So one of my first pieces of advice would be to take a deep breath and then remove, just as you would remove any other toxic people from your life, step back from that situation and remove yourself. And whatever community you're a part of is going to depend on how fast or aggressive you're able to do that, because you might be better off pulling away slowly by slowly, just disappearing, not showing up to events, not really being as active on Messenger, whatever the community may be. But if somebody just dips, there's a good chance that the leaders of that community may see that as an affront or a threat, and then go after that person. And that's a lot of what I think these people are scared of when it comes to leaving. And I don't blame you for that. My advice would be to reach out to somebody that you trust, just like in any other abusive relationship. Reach out to somebody that you trust. Reach out to a mental health professional even. You probably have to work that a little differently, but reach out to anyone just so that somebody knows. Say something. Just like we're on here tonight saying something, say something. You don't have to come out and make a live public statement, but the second you open your mouth, the easier it becomes to keep opening it, to keep talking, to keep exposing what's happened to you, to keep exposing what you went through, to start being able to work through that. So, and I will say, like, that is, I do work in spirituality and mental health. So I'll say it right now, if people feel that they have absolutely nobody that they can just say something to, find my inbox. Sometimes just saying it out loud is what gives it power. Words have power. Acceptance, awareness of the situation that you're in, so that you can start to remove yourself from it. And you can remove yourself from it, just like anything else, just like any relationship, just like any addiction. You can remove yourself from it, but it's not going to happen all at once.
100%.
I hope that
it does sense. And I'm going to answer my take on that as well as read these last couple comments. And guys, we're going to close out. I will say real quick, John left a comment that says, you stay in the abuse because while it is terrible, it's also familiar, and for some, that is all they know. He says, Yaya always asks the tough questions, because that was a tough question. She does. Shout out to Yaya. And Trevor said Patreon. I'm like, what the fuck is he saying? Patreon. Yeah. So I think what it would be is people are scared because when they come out, what's going to happen? The first thing that group's going to do is oust you. Is you step out and say, like, they abused me, they raped me, they did this or that. The first thing they're going to do is take the leaders of that group and take all of those cronies who are still in the abuse, who are still under that Stockholm syndrome. They're going to turn them against you. So now the public statement is, this bitch was crazy or this guy was crazy. they are fucking was a problem from day one, and we always had problems with them, and we were getting ready to kick them out of the house, or we just told them we were kicking them out of the house, and now all of a sudden it's that we're doing bad things. That's always a predator's motive. That all of a sudden, when you oust them or start to talk about them, they jump in and say that they were getting ready to get rid of you, and you're just angry, that you never fit in and you were always the outsider. It's common that they do that to you. But if you are at the point where you cannot take this abuse or mishandling anymore, and you're ready to step out and speak on it, who the fuck cares what a piece of shit has to say about you?
Yes, that's the big
Like,
thing.
yes, you're about to say this man or this woman or whoever raped me or abused me or did these things, right? Who the fuck cares if they tell the world she's lying? Speak your fucking truth, because it's not about the entire world believing you. It's about you finding the healing you need to grow and move on, right? So it's about you saying, you know what, I'm going to speak my truth, even if I'm the only motherfucker on the planet that believes it. Because by saying it out loud, sometimes that helps. And just like in the beginning, the word was God and God was the word and it was with them. The words have potency. They talk about in Kabbalism how the words created the universe. Your words being put out to the aethers saying, this happened to me, and I'm going to shout it from the rooftops that I was abused and used by this fucking group that people like and that they follow, and I'm not going to take it any longer. And they can bash me, but you know what happens so often, Diddy or not? It just takes one spark to start an inferno, guys. We knew for years that Diddy was a funky, fucky, I love that fucky. He was a fucky, weird dude, right? And everybody kind of knew it. But all it took was Cassidy coming forward. Then all of a sudden, 200, 400, 500 other people came forward. And I know the thing is, why now? Why did they come? People were scared, guys. And when someone works up enough balls, human race is a sheep race. They're fucking, I mean, they don't get me started on that, but they're a sheep race. And the thing is when one sheep becomes the wolf or the lion and steps up and says, you know what, I'm going to speak my fucking truth, a lot of the sheeps will turn into lions. And it's not because they're lying. In some cases, there could be lying. But whenever you see someone next to you standing up, you're like,
it's inspiring.
I can do this. I can do it. I'm going to tell my truth. And then the next person's like, well, fuck, 2 people were doing it now. I can do it. 3 people were doing it. And the next thing you know, it's an inferno. And that's what happened. And we're seeing that happen not only with Diddy, we're seeing that happen in the occult community right now behind the scenes, which a lot of you don't know about. Give it some time, give it some months, give it some years. A lot of the shit will be exposed, but as much that will be exposed, there's 40 times that won't be. Right now, as we're speaking, this very fucking second that you're hearing this, whether live or streaming it after the fact, there are people being abused, neglected, robbed, mistreated, raped, you name it, not only in the world, but specifically in occultism and specifically in the left-hand path right now. By groups.
100%.
Some unknown, some very well known. It's wild to think about right now that your favorite author or your favorite lecturer, people you look up to, might be doing this right now as we're speaking to unfortunate individuals. But it's happening. This isn't puffing smoke. This is giving truth. And I hope this resonated with you guys. And I thank you all for sticking around and watching this. Natasha, any last closing thoughts? Oh, there's another question. What is your opinion? Does healthy community feel? What, in your opinion, does healthy community feel like? If that's not too personal to share, this will be our last question for the night, and I think we can answer that. And I think, and I will please let after this, I will let Natasha say the final words, and I'm fucking done, guys. I do. I'm pretty passionate about this subject because I've ousted people before and so forward.
I know.
And I'm not one to hold my tongue on this. Like I said, you know what? I don't want conflict. I don't want problems, but I am also not one to stand silent.
and I will co-host to that.
Thank you, Stacey. I appreciate you saying so. So what does a healthy community feel like? It feels like having a mentor that pushes you to be the best you that you can be. It does not regulate or restrict you from talking to others. They allow you to question things. They allow you to talk to other people, even their elders. They make you feel loved. They make you feel at home. They never ask you to do anything that you are uncomfortable with doing. And when I say that, I need to do a caveat. In occultism and in growth and left-handed path, especially extreme shit that we are a part of, you are going to do things that are uncomfortable. Let's not sugarcoat it like it's all going to be
Yeah.
fucking rainbows and fluffy shit. No, it's not. You're going to do things that are very uncomfortable. There's a difference between let's having you do a procedural or ritual thing that's a little intense to I need you to fucking get naked and lay down on the altar. There's a big fucking difference between that. And there's assholes like fucking Anton LaVey who popularized that by making it into Hollywood, by becoming friends with Marilyn Monroe and
I was gonna say, don't even get us started on that.
we're not going to go into it because I have a whole lot to say about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Anton LaVey might have been the start of my satanic path fucking 30 years ago, but you know, I am not a fan and I haven't been. But to pushing and all these pictures of these parties with children at them, there's fucking pictures of the children sitting on the mantle, his own children, with naked women standing around and having them be the altar. Now, there is a reason that the woman is a part of the altar in the Black Mass. But when there's 5 women standing around you naked, why is that, Anton? Are you just pretty much using your influence to make yourself famous, to make yourself money,
It's a
to
good
show
point.
off women and live the luxurious life, and to make women objects? And Natasha mentioned women earlier, and the thing I will implore any woman listening right now, read and research your fucking ass off. Become the next great author, because as a person who interviews guests, I have 20 guests coming up on my next season, and I'm very proud of all of them. But there's only 3 women, I think, in the entire season. Most of them I reach out to don't answer me. They denied or declined going on the show. And there's very few to pick from in anyways. And then usually the reason they're declining it is they're afraid how the world will handle them, because they've been objectified over and over again. I can put any post I want. No one will talk shit. But a woman puts up a post and she's not a good looking woman. She might be a fucking genius in the occult. Look at this fat bitch. Look how ugly this chick is. Oh, you sound like you know a lot of shit. You fucking look how fat you are. All these things that men say to these women who could be amazing and intelligent, because that's what you've been taught to do in this fucking modern world, and it disgusts me. And I think if you're a woman out there, break the mold, build up, write books, push yourself, and take over, because the occult is saturated by men. And if you are a man out there and you are afraid of women rising to power, you're a fucking pussy. And I have no problem saying that. I don't care if you like me, don't like me. That's fine. Because I have no problem pushing women to want to be the best that they can be and overshadow women, or overshadow men. A strong woman is something that should be in this world. And I have a problem when guys don't like that. And any occult authors out there that don't like that, they love the fact that men reign the occult right now. That's cool, bro, but your time should come to an end.
Right now.
For now, you are, But that's a side subject. I'm sorry to get on tangents, but that needed to be said. It's something I wanted to mention earlier and I didn't get a chance to, is that needs to be more of that. Because I will tell you, one of my huge spiritual mentors is a woman. And I love her and I have respect for her and I have nothing but admiration for her. And there's nothing I would ever want to see from me than to see her rise more and more. I can't stand it more in these communities that it has to be male driven only. And if you're a woman, like I said, first thing they look at is how you look. How sexy are you? What the fuck does that matter? Because when I'm talking, you're not caring about how sexy I am, right? You're only caring about the words I'm saying. Then shut the fuck up and listen to words that we're all saying. It's about information. But a safe house is one that makes you feel comfortable, that teaches you, that inspires you, that pushes you to be the best you. It doesn't make you go into your an uncomfortable area unless it is for ritual purposes, not sexual purposes. And I think if you start to notice synchronicities and you start to open up doors to all kinds of other shit that you weren't expecting, you're in the right place. End of my ring.
Yeah, I would second all of that. I would say that a safe community, a safe family is one where you can send that message, whether it's a question of something that is going on in your practice, whether it's something that's going on in your personal life, whether it is something that happened to you in ritual. A safe community of people is a leader that is willing to put you into an uncomfortable, well, what could be an uncomfortable position, but is going to be right there with you every step of the way, even if by phone. It is the type of community where you feel at home. It's the type of community that you feel like a piece of home is missing when you're not there. And it is the type of community that will back each other, um, and will hold each other accountable and will not be afraid to call each other out, um, so that the family as a whole can. I think that's a good community, one that sticks in your blood.
Yep. You got to feel it at your core. And like I said,
Yeah.
Please, guys, as we finish out tonight, it's okay to want to find where you belong. But don't be so hungry to find where you belong that you put yourself in situations you never should have been in, and then just stay there because you don't know what else to do. It is much better to spend your life alone than to spend your life around a group of predators who only want to use and abuse you. And to a comment earlier, I think we scroll up. Let me throw it on here real quick. Sarah, you said, my need to belong goes beyond spiritual. I've never had family, never had roots, moved over 70 times, so it is very tempting, but still listen to my intuition. It's just hard as fuck. And Sarah, you're doing great, but here's the thing. You must find the love for yourself and confidence in yourself. You need to reach the point, and always should be, before you go look for a house. It's so backwards. People look for a house to become competent. They should be competent and then look for a house. Like I said, you should say, I've reached so much within my own personal practice that I need to join a coven so that we can be like a fucking X-Men, right? We're all going to come together. We're all got our amazing talents, and we come together as a group and we're unstoppable. That's how houses should be. It's not. Houses are like, I want to find a house. I'm 5 days into the occult right now, and I want to learn how to grow. No, you need to learn how to grow on your own, little tadpole. Become a fucking frog and then come back and see us. So that's how it's supposed to be, but that's not how it is. You need to find the love for yourself and competency within yourself. Spend time. Push yourself. Push yourself to a level that seems ridiculous. Every day add something new. Every day stay consistent with it. 6 months later from the time you started, you won't recognize yourself. Your potency, your power, your love for yourself will have grown so much that you don't recognize the person you were 6 months earlier. And then do it again. And then do it again. Do it again and again and again and again and again. And then do it again. And then after that, go ahead and look for a fucking house, for a coven, for a cult. And then make sure they're not some asshole.
You'll go looking for that house or that coven and, searching so hard for this family that you give up yourself and who you would be. It's all for the expense of that. So.
And the last thing I will say, because I know this is going to strike some emotions tonight, and I know that there's going to be people like, Crow, Natasha, how do we get in the Coterie? You don't. But that doesn't mean there's not other groups out there like ours. And the reason I say no is because that's the last point that I'll make. Cults shouldn't be endless amount of people. If you walk into a cult and there's 200 people, that's questionable, because why is it a cult then? It's not very secretive, right? It's not very unknown. It seems like it's any Dick and Tom and Harry that wants to jump in gets fucking in because they're paying the fee. And then you say, what's about money, right? Yeah, it's about money. We don't accept people into the Coterie of Samil except those who are already in it. Now, Natasha and I have talked about, in the next couple years, forming a practice of outer order neophytes. And over time, those people could be led into different degrees of the outer order. And if you reach high enough, you'd be led into the inner order, where we're doing some pretty extreme shit. But once again, never, if we do decide to do that, we don't know if we will. You will never have to worry about your safety. You'll never have to worry about being taken advantage of. It'll be true, honest, loving experience of teaching and to grow you so that you don't need us. We don't grow you to be dependent on us. We grow you so that you don't need us. That is a big difference in the mentality of who you follow.
Part.
And that is what we're going to end with.
Yes.
I thank you so much for the season, everything that we've been able to talk to you guys about. We have 2 more. Next episode in 2 weeks is on invocation and evocation of spirits, which I know you guys have been wanting to hear. The following,
I'll give you a little taste.
Just a little fucking sample. And then the following episode will be a Q&A session for the very last episode of season 1. And then we will take a break for a little while. Knights of the Nephilim's kicking in. Be watching out for that list of authors that we got coming up and figures. It's pretty extraordinary. And we'll be back in a few months with another season, and we'll start getting into the root of things. Thank you. We love you. Click the like, share, follow, and subscribe button. And catch you in 2 weeks, guys. Thank you.